The Asian Financial Forum 2013 here in Hong Kong welcomes Dr. Lawrence Summers, Professor at Harvard University Kennedy School of Government. And he joins us from the United States. He's, remember, also a major economic figure with the Obama and Clinton administrations. And Dr. Summers, thanks indeed for joining us. Can I start by asking you about the US economy, which appears to be looking a bit better at the moment, but does that harbinger well for an economic revival globally?
I think there is a global economy recovery underway, and I think the U.S. economy has been in recovery phase and continues to be in a recovery phase. The question really is what the pace of that recovery is, and will that recovery be sufficient to grow the economies? I think the answer to that question is yes. Will it be sufficient to close the substantial gap that exists with potential production in the United States, with potential production in the industrialized world? And there, I think the answer is less clear. Growth is likely to continue, assuming there are no foolish errors made with respect to the fiscal cliff. But how rapid that growth is going to be, that remains to be seen. We've still got substantial debt imbalances that need to be worked off, particularly in the household sector. And depending on the decisions that are made about fiscal policy, you could get excessive fiscal contraction that would pose a threat to the possibility of the recovery accelerating.
So can I turn now, Dr. Summers, to the European Union, specifically the Eurozone, which seems to be causing quite a number of headaches at the moment. And do you see there being really a regeneration of the Eurozone, perhaps based on the fact that there is this federalization of that zone, and maybe that's going to be the way going forward?
Look, I think that the European process has always been one that moves forward, but moves forward in rather jerky ways. Some steps forward, some steps backward, and I suspect that will be a process that continues. I think a nearly irrevocable decision having been made in favor of a single currency, it will inevitably drive greater economic integration and greater federalism in a variety of respects, and I suspect banking supervision will be one of them. Just what the mechanism will be, just how rapidly it will come, just how retroactive it will be is distinct from forward-looking with respect to issues that arise in the future. That remains very much to be seen.
I'd like to now ask you about your feelings on the relationship between China and the United States. China doesn't look as if it's heading for a hard landing at the moment, but what about the middle distance? And what do you see as China's policy direction as you see that going forward?
You know, China has had a remarkable 3 decades. And after those remarkable 3 decades, actually a third of a century now, since 1979, one has to be very cautious in making negative predictions about what will happen in China. On the other hand, I think one also has to recognize that a growth model that has been fueled not just by high investment, but by a rising investment share, is a growth model that has a variety of problems and challenges in terms of its sustainability. So I would have considerable concerns that there'll be some kind of discontinuity at some point in the next few years in China. If you look at the experience of the other Asian rapid growth countries, at a certain point there was a major interruption to growth, and I think the challenges financial, the challenges economic in terms of the necessary reallocations from investment to consumption, the challenges political, given an increasingly restive and better informed population, the challenges governmentally around questions of corruption and questions of accountability. I think all of these questions will loom large for China in the years ahead.